Hi Do Kids presents a podcast like never before, hosted by kids, featuring kids interviewing passionate adults with exciting jobs such as astronomer, astronauts, scientists with exciting stories, and more. Discover, learn, and be inspired by it. This is episode 1, part 3 of Curious Kadet's podcast, where 10-year-old Rohan chats with astronomer Dr. Mansi Kasliwal of Caltech.
This is by me again. If you could visit one planet in our solar system, which one would you visit?
Oh, that's an excellent question. So I think the planet I would like to visit is our next door neighbor, Mars. I think that would be the most useful planet to visit because there actually is, a serious chance of terraforming Mars and setting up a little biosphere there so that we have another alternative to Earth for human beings to live on. So if I can actually contribute to that, I think that would be a pretty fun place to visit. Some of the other planets are a bit too far or a bit too cold or some of them are too close to the sun, so a bit too hot, right? So I wouldn't want to go too close to the sun or too far away from the sun. I think Mars would be pretty comfortable as long as you get a good space suit, right? That could be a really fun place to visit. Especially if it comes with a return ticket and I can actually come back to Earth to my little kids after that.
So this one is from Larissa 4 and Renisha 7. So would you rather be a land-based astronomer who studies objects in space or an astronaut who goes to space?
Lovely question, right? So I think I would rather be a land-based astronomer because, as I told you earlier, my eyes are no good. Telescopes are way more powerful than my eyes. So I'd rather be a land-based astronomer that sends telescopes to space than a space-based astronomer that only has my eyes to work with.
Okay. This is Satya. Would you rather be able to fly to the moon or fly to Jupiter?
I would say that's a fun one. I think flying to the moon is something we've done many times over, right? So the next challenge is flying to Jupiter. So let's do that. It's a little further. It's a little bit of a longer journey, but we've got to improve our technologies to fly faster. And, we can use some flybys from the planets along the way to give us a bit of a boost and get there sooner. Let's go to Jupiter. It won't be quite easy to land there, right? It's a very, very big gas giant. So there's no nice surface to land there, but maybe we can pick one of its moons as a more pleasant place to land and have a picnic.
Or maybe you can land on the giant red spot.
Ooh, that's going to be landing in the eye of a hurricane, right? So may not be very pleasant, but very exciting for sure if we do that. Have you seen pictures of the big red spot or have you seen the big red spot through a telescope?
I've only seen pictures.
All right, next time you find a telescope to look at it directly.
Would you rather stay in this universe or go to a different universe?
I think we live in a multiverse, right? I mean, there can be many, many universes. None of which we can actually observe, right? So I would say as of today, it is still an impossibility to go to another universe. In fact, we can't even observe another universe yet, right? That is not to say they don't exist, but I think the universe we live in is quite beautiful and has a lot to offer, a lot of mysteries to solve, and is quite a fantastic place to be. So I think I'll stick to our own universe. How about you, Rohan? Would you like to go to another universe?
I'd prefer to stay here. Speaking of a universe is supposed to be technically everything.
Universe is defined. There's everything that happened from the Big Bang, right? So 13.7 billion years ago, there was a Big Bang, and that formed 100 billion galaxies. Each of those galaxies is 100 billion stars. One of those stars is our sun. All of that is our universe.
Yeah. So according to that, the universe is everything. But how can everything grow?
How can everything, sorry?
How can everything grow? Because everything is everything.
Right, right. So our universe is actually expanding and expanding at an accelerating rate, right? So how do you imagine that? So think about, I'm sure on your birthday you've brought some balloons before, right? So think of a balloon, right? Take a marker, draw little stars on the balloon, and then you fill air in the balloon, right? And what you will see is that the dots that you drew on the balloon, the stars that you drew on the balloon, are moving further and further apart, right? That's what's happening in our universe. The stars are moving further and further apart because the balloon itself is becoming bigger, right? So that's what we mean by the universe is expanding, is that when we measure distances to stars or other galaxies in particular, then these galaxies are all moving away from each other faster and faster every year. So that's why we know that the universe is expanding at an accelerating rate. And that was a subject of the Nobel Prize in 2011.
Well, what is it expanding into?
It is just expanding into space. It's creating new space as it expands. So the universe size is itself becoming bigger, right? Like that balloon is expanding into air. The universe is just expanding into space. And that space-time is actually getting created as it goes, right? With that expansion.
Okay. So technically, if you pass the universe, you pass the space-time.
So the entire universe can be described, or at least the way I think about it is not a three-dimensional thing, right? I think of this as a four-dimensional object, where there are three dimensions of space and the fourth dimension is time, right? So anything that changes with time is just another dimension, like space. And space and time are actually equal in dimension. And that is where when you think about things like gravitational waves, these are ripples in the fabric of space-time. So everything is moving in a straight line, but in the curved space-time, right? So you just have to expand your imagination to, instead of thinking about just one-dimensional or two-dimensional or three-dimensional, now thinking about four-dimensional objects and allowing one of those dimensions to be time. And then this becomes very easy to visualize and conceptualize and imagine and work through the math. The math becomes really elegant for general relativity when you are able to visualize four dimensions.
Okay.
Hi, this is Madison from the Kaiduverse. I am glad that you are enjoying the first episode, part 3 of Curious Kadet's podcast. Be sure to check out our new and stellar Snacks Choco Comets, which comes in space-themed box which can be made into 3D rocket-shaped snack packs, and an amazing Kaidu quizzes activity sheets. Blasters on!
Choosing healthy snacks for kids is difficult because kids need to like it as well. That's why I'm so happy to have found Choco Comets by Kaidu Kids. It's a space-themed box. Oh, cute! Look at even the welcome. There's a star. There's an activity. Look at this. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be fun. 6 different flavors. Look, they're even shaped like rockets. The Berry Blast. Kaidu Kids for the win. Crunchy orange.
That's really good.
Mint crunch. We're gonna try peanut butter. Peanut butter. Our puppy wants to try that. She doesn't get any, huh? No chocolate for puppies. Yummy berry. Astronaut double chocolate. Is it so good? That's so yummy.
Can I have another bite?
Yeah, you better. What was your favorite out of all of those? I like the orange the best, huh? Do you know what my favorite flavor was? Yeah. Chocolate mint was my favorite. With no added sugar, they're gluten-free and vegan. These high-protein treats are perfect. And I love Kaidu Kids because they stand for nutrition and imagination. These will be a must in the snack pantry for sure.
These are the best.
Are they?
Yay! Would you rather be able to send a machine to find aliens? Or would you go to aliens yourself? Would you go to space yourself to find aliens?
So I would say that the hunt for aliens is on, right? And right now we are just trying to communicate with them some way, somehow, right? I think space is so big that if I went in a rocket and said, okay, my mission is going to be like Christopher Columbus to go exploring the Earth, but instead now I want to explore space and find aliens, that might be a bit foolhardy, right? That might be a little bit too difficult because the universe is a very, very big place. to be a Christopher Columbus that is going to just happen to run into an alien and be able to say hello myself, right? So instead, what we are doing is we're coming up with all these new technologies, new ways to communicate, where you can communicate at very long distances. And if you can communicate successfully at very long distances, then no matter where in the universe these aliens live, they will all be at least able to understand the language of math, right? And maybe they'll communicate back to us. And if we're continuously listening for signals from them, and we are continuously transmitting signals and simple messages based on fundamental math, right? My hope is we'll be able to establish first contact with them soon, right? Relatively soon. But that has a higher chance of success than going out in a rocket ship and looking for aliens myself, because the universe is a big, big place. And aliens certainly exist. The only question is how far is home for them.
Okay. What is your favorite space movie?
What is my favorite space movie? I think I don't know about a movie, but at least in terms of TV series, I thought Star Trek was pretty fantastic. I think there's some really cool, good imagination in the. Have you seen any Star Trek?
Yeah, I watched the whole series.
Yeah. So the spaceship Enterprise has really gone places, and I think there's a lot of creativity in what they imagined space to look like, and that was a pretty fun one for me. I think that was more fun than any other science fiction movie that I've seen.
Okay. What is your favorite star?
What is my favorite star? I think I have to say the sun is my favorite. We wouldn't exist. You and I wouldn't exist if it was not for the sun. The sun is a very mediocre, very middle-aged, normal star. I've discovered stars that are 100 times more massive than the sun, and then I've discovered stars that are only 1/10 the mass of our sun, right? So on both sides of the mass scale and extremes in the luminosity scale. But if I had to pick only one, if you would only let me pick one favorite star, then I think I'd pick the sun. It is doing its job, fusing hydrogen in its core and into helium, and keeping us all very warm and cozy here on planet Earth, and giving us the light and the heat and the gravity that we need to survive as a human race. So I'd say that one does still top my list of favorites.
Okay. What is your favorite space experiment?
What is my favorite space experiment? I actually really like this experiment that's called LISA. I think one of the most amazing things we've been able to do just in the last few years is detect gravitational waves, right? So in this 4-dimensional space-time that I was describing to you, actually detect ripples in this fabric of space-time. And we've been able to do that from Earth, right? From ground-based interferometers on Earth, which are called LIGO. But the best space experiment was actually a pathfinding experiment to show that we can do this even from space, is detect these ripples in the fabric of space and that are impossibly hard to detect, right? Because they're really, really small signals. But they tell us something really fundamental about, black holes being born, black holes being merged. But they're very, very, very difficult to detect. But we've shown that we can even do this from space, and we can actually open up a new window into the study of gravitational waves if we have an experiment like LISA on a larger scale. So I would say that to me is one of those sort of groundbreaking new experiments in space. Is a project called LISA, and that shows that we can in fact detect gravitational waves from space.
Is there any message for kids watching this?
That's a great question. I mean, my message is just as simple. It is, pursue your dreams. No dream is impossible. I'm living an impossible dream. So believe in your dreams, whatever they may be, and let the sky not be the limit to your imagination. We live in a beautiful, beautiful universe. So just have fun and live a happy life, and believe in your dreams and pursue them.
Okay.
And what do you want to do when you grow up?
I want to be a tennis player, or
All right.
or a zoologist.
Or a zoologist. All right. So you love animals, huh?
Yeah.
What is your favorite animal?
I like jaguars. Preferably
All right.
black ones.
Preferably black ones. Oh, they're pretty rare, though. So very cool. The universe also, even astronomers like animals, because when you look at constellations, they're imagined in the shapes of different animals.
I
So you
believe
can do some zoology even with space.
I get this right. I know a few. I know the lion.
That's right. Leo the lion. What about Ursa Major, the big bear?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. There's a horse, there's a scorpion. There are about 88 constellations. Many of them are animals. so it's a fun place, even if you like animals. It was a real pleasure talking to you, Rohan, and good luck with your dreams. And thank you and congratulations on your first interview.
Thank you for the interview.
Stay tuned for the next episode. If you are a kid between 7 to 12, reach out to us on Instagram at Kaidu Kids to be our next podcast host.